It's Platt, and today we head to Fresno. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have today comes to us from the fine folks at Full Circle Brewing. It is their Gingerbread and Plum Bomb. It's a New England IPA. A little background to Full Circle. Full Circle was founded in 2000 in Fresno, California, in the downtown area. It originally started as with a 7-barrel brew system inside an old U.S. Post Office motor pool. Supposedly it's a big brick building downtown, and perfect location for a brewery. Hopefully no one went postal in there. Oddly enough, this brewery is one of the first craft breweries in Fresno and the oldest continuous brewery in the Central Valley area. Now, I found that kind of hard to believe, but did a little more research, and they talk about on the website that Fresno, a city of about 500,000, has only about 14 breweries, which you would think in California they're just all over the place. To give a good comparison, Sacramento, just up the road, a little bigger town though, has 80 different breweries. Of course, San Diego, LA, they're just all over the place down there. So for whatever reason, Fresno is kind of behind the curve in California as far as craft breweries. So Full Circle is one of the OGs, as the kids would say. In 2016, a couple gentlemen, Anthony Moya and Kasti Jakovic, hopefully I said that right, purchased the brewery. They ran a successful accounting firm downtown, and they were big advocates for the revitalization of downtown Fresno. Breweries are great business for that kind of thing, revitalizing downtown. I've kind of talked a little bit about the Arts District here in Las Vegas, but you think about some of these downtown areas, they're old warehouse districts, kind of industrial areas with older buildings. So that works out for a brewery. Full Circle being an example. You know, think about that old motor pool. You're going to got big garage doors, makes it easier to, bring in and out equipment, stuff like that. More industrial, the flooring, everything laid out, just kind of works perfectly for a brewery. Anyway, they bought the brewery. One of the first things they did was upgrade from a 7-barrel system to a 15-barrel system. In 2018, they began canning their own beer and got distribution. I believe now they're in 4 states, the neighboring states, including us here in Nevada. Apparently, though, Arthur and the boys at Full Circle have kind of bigger dreams. They're looking to expand. They recently bought Sonoma Cider. They're getting into the cider business. So much so that they've gotten into what's called equity crowdfunding. They are looking to source capital for this expansion. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the sky's the limit, I guess, with Full Circle Brewing. Real quick, let's talk about some of their other beers. First is Juicy, 6.6% ABV. It is a New England IPA. It is their flagship beer and pretty much just a straightforward, classic West Coast hoppy IPA. Next is Illa Vanilla, 6.5% ABV. It is a milkshake IPA made with real vanilla and lactose. The Illa beers are a series of beers where they're all milkshake IPAs with a different form of flavoring, lactose and something else. Next is a great name for a beer. I wish I had thought of that. It is Pie of the Tiger, 6% ABV. It's an American sour made with cherries and boysenberry. They have other varieties with different fruit flavoring, but the line of beer, the designing, is to kind of craft it after your grandmother's, apple pie or cherry pie, whatever, just that classic American pie kind of vibe to that. Finally is PlumBomb, along with our Gingerbread and PlumBomb, part of a series of beers. It is a double New England IPA. They're 8.5%. The PlumBomb is made with toasted coconuts and pineapple puree. Sounds similar to a beer I reviewed a while back called Getting Tiki With It. I believe that was Left Hand Brewing or whatever, but it was kind of a beer designed to taste a little bit like a pina colada. Again, they have several of these bomb varieties. They're all New England IPAs, 8.5%, really big beers with a lot of different flavor combinations. As far as the rest of their line of beers, pretty much kind of standard West Coast, IPA intensive. You're not going to see a lot of lagers on here. You're not going to see, I didn't see really any like the pastry stouts. I didn't see any classic German styles, Marzens or Bocks or anything like that. So just a classic West Coast brewer. Well, before we try this particular beer though, let's check out the stats. So today I thought I'd talk briefly about equity crowdfunding in the craft beer business. I had touched in an earlier video, I'm going to say probably a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, however, where I talked, I had highlighted I'd gotten a beer glass from a brewery in Texas, however, about just straight crowdfunding, things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, where you would contribute $25, $50, they'd send you a beer mug or a t-shirt or something like that. What we're talking about is something a little bit different. I'll go over the differences. On things like Kickstarter or whatever, like I said, you'll donate $25, and generally it's a brewery that either hasn't opened yet or is just opening, and they want to either need $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 to either buy a single piece of equipment. Let's say they want a big fermenter for their flagship beer, or they wanted money to finish out their tap room, make it look nice, what have you. Smaller amounts of money, and they don't give a piece of the ownership, and they don't have to go to the bank for it. They just kind of hand out swag for it, and you're just being, a supporter of the arts in a roundabout way when you give to those. What we're talking about here and what Full Circle's doing is a little different. It's what's called equity crowdfunding. You actually buy a piece of the brewery. You become a part owner. Breweries that get into this type of funding, they are generally established, been around at least 2 or 3 years. They're looking for bigger chunks of money. They're looking to, expand regionally. They're looking to go from a 3 or 5 barrel brew house to a 15-barrel brew house and add a canning line. And for that, they're willing to give out a piece of ownership. Now, in the past, if you tried to invest in a brewery or something like that 10, 15, 20 years ago, your generally minimum investment is going to be $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 just to get a tiny piece. Well, that's not practical for a lot of folks. Now, with sites like WeFunder and Crowdfunder and some changing the laws, the average person who could get into companies before they go public, like, who wouldn't have loved to get into Facebook before it went public, or Twitter, or something like that? Well, now you could get into these companies pre-IPO, and a lot of them minimum investments are just a few $100s. And if you go to some of these sites, you'll notice there's a lot of breweries going this route. And if you live in a major metropolitan area, I bet there's a brewery near you that does this or is offering that. So if you ever wanted to buy a piece of brewery, and this is no financial advice, but this is a great way to do it. Again, check out some of these sites, look for some breweries around. But it is a kind of cool way to, not a lot of people have $1 million start a brewery, but you might have $1,000 to invest in that cool brewery down the road that you like going to. So, well, enough about that. Let's drink a bomb. All right, got a little. Oh, geez, I got a little aggressive with that pour there. Fairly clear beer, slight haze to it. Kind of looks like just I don't even want to say that looks like a hazy IPA. It's kind of straight IPA look to it. Unfortunately, I poured too much of a head. Let's get on the nose. Plenty of hops. I'm not picking up on the nose any gingerbread or plum. This is on the nose, kind of a straightforward IPA, but let's give her a try. Let's give her another try. That is a nice straightforward IPA, but I'm really not getting much gingerbread or plum on there. Definitely not, you know, if you think about gingerbread, you're thinking of some of those spices, vanilla, nutmeg, stuff like that. I'm definitely not picking that up. I get a hint of the plum sweetness, and there's something on the back of the palate that kind of resembles some dark fruit, but I'm really not picking up the gingerbread. A nice beer. This is really nice IPA. Yeah, I've told you guys I'm not a huge IPA guy. This is a nice IPA. I just don't taste the other flavors. It's kind of disappointing because you see a can like this, you think of some of these beers, and you know the possibilities of them. Just did not come through. But again, if you just want a nice straight IPA, though, this is pretty decent beer. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Until next time, bottoms up.